Hello, everybody. I'm back with my scent of the week and spritz of the week, and I think it's number 8 or 7. And we're also still in. Well, we just finished sample September, and that's something I've been doing along with Melville Villanueva and a few other people are also doing that. And that's just going through our sample box in September. So, and this week, October blended into this, so they're not all going to be samples. So. Anyway, the first one I did was I'm going to have 3 from this Aromas de Salazar, and I must have saved the 3 best to last, I think. Although some of the other ones were pretty good. The very first one I did this week was called Heavenly Tobacco, and this one was really good to me. I gave it a 9. Miss Floss gave it an 8. But the thing that I remember about it, and I have that written down here, is that it had tobacco, melon, and Elemi up top. And I really like that melon and Elemi with the tobacco up top. Elemi gives it like a citrus. And then it had oud in the dry down. So this really was, this is really something that I would think about buying a bottle. There's a couple other ones I like from him, but this is one that, it's in my head. Just because of that melon tobacco with the Elemi, it really was nice the way he did that. So that's Heavenly Tobacco by Aromas de Salazar, Michael Salazar. And then the next one, I got this one. This one's from fragrancesample.com, I think, or something like that. I don't have a subscription to Scentbird. I don't get samples from like Macy's or anything like that. I don't go shopping in there. Most of my stuff I buy online. So I did find this place called fragrancesample.com or something like that early on. And I made a mistake. Not make a mistake buying this, but just buying that little bit. This is Valentino Uomo Intense, and people that know this know why I made a mistake having just this. I should have bought a bottle back then when I could find a bottle, because now these are running really high. An empty bottle of this I seen on eBay for $30. I should have bought this when I had the chance. In fact, I know I should have bought it. It's vanilla, iris, and leather. And when I put this on the other day, on Tuesday, I came upstairs and Miss Fritz said, "Oh, it smells so good." Yeah, well, I have a little more left to smell so good. And this is like, I do have Dior Homme. I have Prada L'Homme. So I have stuff in this vein, but maybe I should have bought this. And so that's Valentino Uomo Intense. I think this is the 2016 discontinued one, I think. So that's what I had there, and it was really good. And then I went back to ShelterinPerfume. I think it was the last week I did the extra, and I also did this on a sample, samples from the sample box or something. I have a video with 4 of hers, not sorry, the other 4. And in that one, I mentioned that I didn't see Vetiver as a note in there. She doesn't list it as a note. But I went back and looked at some of the lives I'd seen her on, especially with Joe Anthony and Unaverage Joe. And in there, she mentions there is Vetiver in this. So now I had that in my head. Okay, there is Vetiver in it, even though it's not listed. And I wore this, and it's very similar to Extra. And I did Extra last week. And I liked Extra, but I said I was kind of self-conscious. I don't really like talking about the gender stuff, but there is this association people make with gender, and if something's a little more on the floral side, it could get associated. That's where it would lean femme. But I liked it. I could wear it. So this brought that back down. It is a lot like Extra, though. I will say that. I mean, I could smell the similarities in it. And I think I've only mentioned that when I talked about it in the sample box, that there are similarities in the other 4 besides Sir. And but anyway, this brings it back with that Vetiver and some of the other notes that are in it. I really like this. I gave that Extra an 8. I would give this an 8.5 and 9. And this really goes well, since I do have Sir and I bought a bottle of Sir. This probably would be good if you are a Vetiver collector, to have something like a little lighter on that. So that's where this would be. I'm glad I have it. I have 2 of these actually. Okay, and then the next one I did, 4 minutes, okay. The next one I did was another Aromas de Salazar, and that was Cocoa Oud. And for, I think, who is it that asked about? One of my friends asked about chocolate. And I mentioned Wicked Good by Gallagher. But here's another chocolate that I think anybody that's looking for chocolate, it's called Cocoa Oud. And I really did like this. It does have a chocolate flavor to it. The chocolate's in the middle though. I think there's coconut, jasmine, and honey at the top, and there's chocolate and cacao in the middle here. But the other thing is it has oud also in the dry down. So this is really nice. It's a chocolate based one. That floral up top and that coconut, you don't really get that too heavy, but it's there. And yeah, I like it. This was really good, especially if you do like chocolates. There's time and place for this. And I gave it an 8. Miss Fritz gave it a 7. But I like the uniqueness of it. So that's why I say about that. And then the next one also is from Aromas de Salazar, and it's called Fatale Fougere. And I know a lot of people like this from him. I like barbershops. I like Fougeres. And I did give it an 8. Miss Fritz, I think she gave it a 7. The interesting thing about this, he talks about this, it's his take on a barbershop. What I found interesting, I think it's what he finds interesting too. He puts cilantro, rosemary, and thyme in this. And he's got all the normal stuff that would be in a fougere to make it a barbershop or a fougere. But he has those notes in there, and that brings out this interesting twist to it. And I liked it. I actually did like that. They're not overpowering in it, but it changes it up a little bit. So that's a good one. It's called Fatale Fougere. And as I said, there's some people that like his fragrances that this is the one they choose. So now, I didn't know I was going to do sample September. And I had some samples from the next one, Harmony. It's with an X, Harmony. And that's Trill Noel's. And I had bought a discovery set, a sample set of his. And not knowing I was going to be doing this sample September and gone through them again, I do have a sample video out there of his, but I ended up sending those samples to somebody else because I know they are reviewers, and I thought this is some samples I'll send to them and they could maybe do some reviews on them. So I didn't have any samples, so I went back to the one that I actually blind bought from him. I thought, okay, now it's October 1st, it's Saturday. I don't have to do samples again, but I wanted to mention Trill Noel and Harmony because he would be in that vein with ShelterinPerfumes. He would be in there for the scent of it. He would be in there with the Gallaghers and the Happy Lands and the Michael Salazars. So I wanted to mention, I wish I would have had those samples to do this month during Sample September. But I went back to this. This is just, to me, it's like going into a Middle East bazaar. I have a video on this. I actually have a full video on this. To Miss Fritz, she just said it's fruity, just fruity. That's all she said. And it is fruity. But this is a good one. I blind bought it. So anyway, that's Aqua de Famiglia, and that's by Harmony with an X. And so now we're done with the samples. And on Sunday, I wore Creed's Green Irish Tweed. And I was dressed, I had an actual white sweater on with my Irish hat. So I decided to wear Green Irish Tweed. I was going to a meeting that morning. I was going to breakfast and stuff. And so I wore Green Irish Tweed because I'm done with my samples. Let's get that. And one thing I got to mention here, and this was another one. I came up, Miss Fritz hadn't smelled it in a while. And she was like, that smells so good. So if you know, she said, that smells so good. And then the Valentino Intense, she smelled so good. And this isn't a knock at anybody, okay? This isn't that what this. And actually, Michael from For the Scent of It mentions this because he's a humble guy. And he mentioned that he's been trying to make fragrances since 10 years. That's what he wanted to do, and he's been doing it. And he mentioned in one of his lives, he says, I'm not trained like those guys. I'm not trained like Alberto Marias. I'm not trained like Oliver Creed. I don't have a chemistry degree. And I don't ever think I'll make something like that. And so, when I do buy these indie perfumes, I understand that. But what I do get from them is some uniqueness, you just get the uniqueness. So even though to most people, Green Irish Tweed, it's great, to individuals like me, one of these other ones are great too, So some of these I give 9s, 8s, and 9s to. But he understood that, And so I just want to mention that, And as always, I want to ask that we pray for peace and that we be kind. And support these small indies. Bye.